morning, good morning, good morning. Just getting signed in to my own channel here where I can hopefully see your comments lots better and respond live. All right. I am set up. How are you doing this morning? So, welcome to Spirituality in Sin City. I am Rachel Hoyt, and this is the card of the day for discussion drawn yesterday at the end of the day. As I said, it is the Rachel Queen. If you don't already know, I am here every day to discuss one playing card in particular with you that we draw the day before, but also because I am looking for people who have found playing cards in the wild and want some information about what such things might mean. And I just spend a little bit of my morning time here discussing tarot and playing cards with you and doing a little bit of my art. Ooh, got a lot of gold there. I was just going to do a little bit, but I guess I'm going to do a lot. That is how it goes sometimes. So, like I said, card of the day was the Rachel Queen, Queen of Diamonds. Keywords are decisive and obstinate. And the phrase is all is fair in love and war. Now, why do I call it the Rachel Queen? Oh, I do have my book. I studied originally from this book, Fortune Telling with Playing Cards by Jonathan D. And in there, it is said, oops, I'm sorry for not preparing this in advance. I didn't see it because it was right in front of me. That's how things go sometimes. So, in this book, it says the Queen of Diamonds is usually called Rachel, the biblical character who was the favorite wife of Jacob from Genesis 29 and 35. To win Rachel, Jacob worked for her father, Laban, for 7 years, only to be tricked into marrying Rachel's sister, Leah. Then Jacob had to work another 7 years to gain his love, Rachel, who later gave birth to Joseph and Benjamin. Point being, obviously, Jacob was dead set on marrying Rachel. And Rachel was dead set on marrying Jacob because she waited for Jacob for 14 years while he worked for her so that they could get married. That, my friends, is decisiveness and obstinate behavior. So, when you find this card, if you found this card, if it was speaking to you, which way was it speaking to you? Is it warning you not to behave decisively and obstinate, or is it saying do that because it's good? It could be either way. So, if you're feeling one thing I like to keep in mind is sometimes it is a sign that if you can't decide, you've actually already decided. Sometimes just a resistance to something that won't go away is the answer. When I find myself not able or not willing to follow through on something, I often end up at the conclusion, eventually, that it was for a reason. There was a really good reason why I did not want to do that thing, why it wasn't the best thing for me to do, even though I was having mixed feelings about it. It felt like I should do it. I don't have a great example. Well, yes, I do. Let's go with poker. So yesterday I was listening to a podcast, Think Poker podcast, they were interviewing Lucky Chewy, Andrew Lichtenberger, who is the only other person I know who for sure uses tarot cards occasionally, at least. Um, the meaning of cards as he sees them, not necessarily that he sees them the same as me, but I did have a little chat with him one time in Messenger, and uh, and he told me that he does, amongst other things, ponder the tarot meanings of the playing cards. He's aware of them. So, anyways, they were interviewing him yesterday on Think Poker podcast, and they did not talk about tarot at all, but they were talking about intuition, which he's talked about much more. Just the fact that he utilizes intuition and is still what they were referring to as a feeling player. And I promise this has something to do with decisiveness, the card of the day. So, as he kept describing to them what intuition is like and how he might, sometimes feel it one way, sometimes another, um, they they got to the point where they were talking about, okay, so he had already said intuition. He didn't want to say that it's like instant, but it is. It's very quick. Like sometimes, as I've said, I've described it as sometimes I'm already thinking something before the card appears, and then the card shows up and confirms it. So the intuitive message is already there, and they wanted him to say that they wanted him to give a decision-making process that others could follow, which that he uses when in his poker play, shall we say. And he couldn't really do it. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I wasn't surprised at all. I'm sitting there thinking, did they listen? I mean, you can't you don't want to. When I sit there, and I do sit there after feeling an intuitive message, because in poker you don't always want to act immediately, whether or not you know exactly what you're going to do. But if I allow those thoughts to change my mind when I already have received an intuitive message, if I am not decisive about the fact that I received a very clear intuitive message, then and I double check myself that if I second guess myself and change my mind, then often that's when I end up at the wrong decision. So as much as people might not want to hear it because they're used to thinking that the smart decision takes longer to make because you have to sit there and think everything through, that's not always the best way, at least in my opinion. Sometimes you just need to be decisive, as that card says. And I don't think I'm just saying that because I'm Rachel and I relate very much to the decisive, obstinate energy. This actually represents the Taurus. If you're interested in the horoscope signs of the cards, that is the Taurus, the bull-headed energy. And well, I'm not a Taurus, but I still relate very, very much to that card. I think we all have multiple influences. So, in fact, I relate little less in poker than to my horoscope card than I do to this card, shall I say. Or maybe it's not relate to, but feel it and feel it positively helping me more often. I think my card, Sagittarius, comes up more often than not as a warning sign, but that's we don't need to talk about me. You don't care about that. You want any more advice for you, do you not? That is likely why you are here. Uh, Either that, or you just really like watching someone paint little bits of gold all over a. This is a canvas board that I transferred image onto. This is one of the images from the Tarocchi de Mantegna possibly possibly the first tarot deck ever, but we don't exactly know what the images were intended for. Don't have clear history. I am fascinated with them. This is one of my favorites, Octava Spira. So just making a little, I'm calling them embellished prints because they're going to have acrylic paint on them. I might do some acrylic in the middle here too, and a few when I am paying better attention. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about decisiveness and decision making. And I brought you some quotes, only 2 quotes today for you. I brought one from the Bible and one from the Tao Te Ching to help us think about decisiveness, good or bad. So, but, excuse me. Oh, I'm having issues in the morning lately with making unwanted noises while talking. I apologize, sis. I apologize. So, back to decisiveness, decision making, point of the day. If you were led to this video, you may be having trouble making a decision, or you may feel you already made a decision and are, I don't know, having trouble following through with the steps. This card was your sign to get moving. If you haven't been able to decide about something and you've been trying a long time, I think I may have already said this, but that's your decision. You've made your decision not to do it at this point. Move on, find something else. That, it's one way or the other, but you need to get moving in one direction. Time to start behaving decisively. And yeah, that is the advice coming to you from the Queen of Diamonds. So I checked out the Bible. Well, what I do is I ask ChatGPT to help me quickly find some scriptures and quotes to match the theme of the card, or at least, match the theme. It doesn't have to be the exact same message, but from the Bible in regards to decisiveness, in James 1:8, it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's I meant to leave my Bible open so I could read a little more of the passage, and I moved it when I was setting up the paint. But he was talking about, when you've received an answer, when you've made a decision, be firm in that and stick with it. And I think that's a warning that a lot of people who look to tarot really, really need. Um, how many times do you see a tarot reading where it feels like they've pulled half of the cards in the deck because they're like just getting clarification? And how many people do you know who, and I've been there, how many people do you know who watch a tarot reading every single day, or more than one tarot reading every day, or go to see their favorite tarot reader every week, or more than once a week? How much is too much? When are you going to be okay and accept the information that you've received and act decisively on it? This is another theme of the Queen of Diamonds, something else it might be telling you. But I suppose I'm pretty passionate on that one. I think it's really not good to try. I do not think tarot is supposed to tell you everything. I think we have to embrace the unknown at some point and, just deal with it, kind of. And it sucks, but it's real. And I guess that's the little ranty message that I feel compelled to pass on to you today on behalf of the Queen of Diamonds. When you've received a message from God or from your intuition, or you've already made your decision, stick with it. Be a person of your word. It's a goal I'm working on. Even though I am very decisive and obstinate, I still have trouble sticking to my goals and my word sometimes. And I've been reflecting on the fact that it's really important to do that, whether it's simply I'm going to get up and meditate every morning for 10 minutes, or, I'm going to give myself a facial every whatever day, whatever the goal is. When you stick to it, you are reminding yourself that you are a person of your word. When you don't stick to it and change your mind, even if it's supposedly for you and supposedly benefiting you, you are breaking your word to yourself. And it can have, I think it's had a cumulative effect on me and made me a little too flexible with my personal goals, especially in regards to what art project I'm going to finish and when. So, last little quote for the day before I draw a card for tomorrow from the Tao Te Ching, chapter 64. The journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath one's feet. Time to take a step and just get moving in the direction that you've been planning to go. So, what are you working on today? I'd love to hear about it in the comment section. I'd love to hear any questions you might have about the Queen of Diamonds or any other card you may have found out and about in the wild. Even if you're coming on this later, I will try and get back to you. But I am online Monday through Friday, 7:07 a.m. looking for those of you who have found playing cards in the wild, waiting to chat with you. Awesome deck. What advice do you have for us today? What do we need to know? What should we be working on, thinking about for the next 24 hours? Not doing so good on this shuffling. All right. What do we need to know? This is a tricky card. Revelation and complication. I think we might have just had this card the other day. Still the energy, if so. Anyhow, drink this in. What is being revealed to you right now? What kind of complications are happening? What can you do to turn it back on whoever? Turnabout is fair play. We'll talk about this card more tomorrow morning, 7:07 a.m. If you enjoyed this, please do press like and subscribe. I really appreciate your support. Thank you again for watching, and have an awesome day.